Hey, legends. What an episode we have for you today with writer, director, and cinematographer Richard Hughes, Melbourne's very own, which is incredible because he just released his first feature film called The Enforcer, which was led by Antonio Banderas, Kate Bosworth, and Chainz. We had some incredible conversations from the movie, even some stories about him smoking up with Chainz and meeting him, helping him prepare for his first feature film. He shared an interesting story where he stumbled into Zac Efron's house and had Thanksgiving with him, which was awesome. The incredible work and conversations he got to have with the late, great Angus Cloud, Fez from Euphoria. So much gold in this, a new space for us in the podcast. But Richard's brain is beautiful, it's different, and it's creating some great films that's going to be going for a long time in Australia, no doubt, as he's working on his next one. So absolutely beautiful episode. We get to see a little bit of Hollywood, how movies work, and how he sees his direction when it comes to films. So let's get into the episode. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Unlaced podcast. Appreciate you guys coming back as always. If you haven't checked out last week's episode with Tolgay Arslan, what an unbelievable episode. It was a football education, as I stated in the show. Even for me, which I absolutely loved, and one of the biggest players in the A-League. We shared last week, we're going for a big year. I'm a bit nervous about this year because of how much we achieved last year, the guests we got on, the caliber of guests. So with that brings a lot of excitement to bring you guys some shows. And of course, if you are new here, thank you for turning up. Please give us a like and subscribe. It's how we grow. This is a very unique guest in regards to our show, for what we've done historically, but I would love to bring on more guests in this space. And I'm very excited to introduce writer, director, cinematographer, Richard Hughes, a man of many talents.
What? Stone cold.
Stone cold. What? The beer cans.
Can of beer. Yeah. Give me a hell yeah.
You actually have a bit of a stone cold look.
Oh, no.
Facial hair wise, the hat
I don't know. I'm kind of rocking and everything's gone a bit kind of rogue cowboy at the moment. I'm kind of liking a bit of workwear, brown, blue collar vibe. But not this.
Just blending in. Oh, yeah. Should we get the elephant out of the room? In the room?
Roll with it, bro.
Yeah. So pretty much we had a phone call when I first was asking Rich to come on, and the great man obviously was willing to do so and give us some of his time because his story is incredible. But the conversation was going really well until we discovered I'm a Man U fan and you're a Tottenham fan.
Oh, dude.
But the story behind you becoming a football fan is actually quite fascinating because you're new to the sport.
Man, I'm new. I'm a new blood, but I'm all up, coys. But I kind of got into it through the Ange effect.
But Celtic, right?
Yeah, Ange Postecoglou. So when I was in Europe shooting a movie, I was over there and I was just kind of, I'm into AFL hard. I'm Big D's tracker fan. Yo, what up, CP5? But I was watching a lot of football, just kind of getting into it, like in just even some of the Euro leagues, how big it is. You get immersed into it. But then, the Ange story kind of really magnetized towards me.
Yeah.
Well, I magnetized towards it. And him joining another club, like a big club like Celtic. So I started watching their games. And then when he jumped ship to with such success there, I don't know. I just find those stories, especially a homegrown talent, the beauty. Why I was thinking about it, why I've gravitated towards someone like Ange Postecoglou is because one, he's from Middle Park.
Yeah.
Two, it's like watching a movie in real life. Like it has the essence of a Hollywood film. If he wins the title at EPL, I mean, shit, let's get the rights, man. Like,
dude,
that's a movie.
That's your film.
Posty.
Yeah. Posty.
I know. But look, man, so then I jumped straight on the Tottenham Hotspurs, followed him there, got the kit. I accidentally like tried to sign up for like some watch online. This is when I was in Europe to watch the games. I ended up buying like an overseas membership for it.
You told me
I
that.
got all these newsletters and like fan days and shit. And I'm like, fuck. I spent my life unsubscribing from emails, and that went in there too.
That went in, yeah.
But so I did that, and then I'm up all hours, Optus, watching Ange. I listen to podcasts on Tottenham now. I'm like the trade week now. I'm all over it. I could name every player on the roster, bro. I'm pretty into it. But Ange has an authority, like a father figure, but the way he talks, man, he pumps up.
Yeah.
But we've all seen that clip of him in the rooms for the World Cup.
Oh, it's quite scary. He's got a flick to him, but he doesn't let media see, I reckon.
Nastiness, but he's just kind of like the dad you never had or some shit. Yeah, he's got something really powerful about him. But just to see how hard he worked, as a fellow Australian, and finally got there. I love that. I love watching people get there, no matter what age or what type, and especially just people going after it, man.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. A guy from Melbourne coaching the Premier League.
How do you feel? I mean, you're a
you know what? I'll share some things around Ange.
You know him.
Well, yeah, I've known him since I was 12 years old. I never played with him in the national team because he was when I was like 12, 13, he was coaching the junior Aussie teams.
Yeah.
And for all his greatness, a lot of players going into camp with him, and maybe it was a immaturity in the players or whatever, but they didn't like it. They didn't like him because he was very strict, and it was like almost like a militant type vibe, and he would shout at a player at dinner and things like that, and people were always on edge.
Yeah.
But then you watch what he's achieved, and it's like, well, he was obviously right because he knows what he's doing. The thing that shocked me the most about him at Tottenham is how he is with the media.
Oh,
I didn't know he was that unbelievable. Like, he's like a philosopher or something.
Yeah, I know, but he's also got a charm about him.
Yeah, it's something about
the media's really latched on, and he says some shit that's just hilarious.
He makes Aussies look great.
Yeah, he does. But also going into that landscape as an Australian, into the EP, it's so cutthroat, man. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And like you've got all these guys that have come from elite level playing for, who, what, or whatever, and then they jump into the coaches. He's not from that ilk. He's like South Melbourne Hellers. Not to shit on it, but it's like he's nothing on, any other club.
He's done it. He's done it the hardest way.
So it's great. So I'm watching that. And I can't wait. We got 20.
Have you been to a game?
No, man. I want to, but that's the bucket list. So me and a couple of mates are right into it now. If we get top 4, I want to do Champions League bucket list. Just try and get to a game. Would that be the one to go to?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
That's like that is
at home.
That's the best competition in the world.
Yeah.
Like almost sporting.
Have you been to one?
Champions League. I don't know if I have.
Yeah.
I don't know if
have you been to a Man U game then?
Yeah.
What's the atmosphere like compared to like AFL?
It's similar. Like the only thing is like AFL's so unique. Like Premier League kills every sport from atmosphere, but go to a Collingwood Carlton game.
Yeah.
Like I can't say there's a huge discrepancy because bro, it's fucking insane AFL.
Yeah.
Like 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Like some of the Premier League stadiums, I think Chelsea's capacity is like 45,000.
Yeah, totally.
So it's a bit different. It's like you sit on top of the game, you feel like you're in the game more, whereas AFL, you're further away. So it's actually louder in the Premier League station.
So, but if you went to like a Tottenham Arsenal Champions League final or something, it would be off the Richter.
But you'd also be walking into the ground looking over your shoulder, like if you're wearing the opposition colours.
We've all done that.
Yeah, so it's cool. Like, there's a bit of hooliganism still in the game
totally.
there.
That's what kind of brings it alive. It's like any spark can flame it up.
Don't go to the wrong pub. Don't wear the, you know what I mean?
I'm just totally going to walk into the wrong pub, bro.
Yeah, it's special, man. You have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think you're actually just on Tottenham chances of top 4?
I think we're good chance, man.
Yeah.
I mean, our players are all starting to come back. We're getting Madison, Minion Sons, and the Asian Cup, and a couple of our players in the AFCON. And so I'm starting to get onto it, bro.
AFCON.
But we got some good guys.
African Cup of
we got
Nations.
that Dragisin guy that we just traded for. Who else did we get?
The guy, Timo Werner.
Yeah, Werner.
Yeah.
Werner. Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Yeah, so we got him. I don't know, man. Once our players are back, if we can keep it like that, I reckon we could have a shot at taking the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
And what's the poetry of that, man? That's like, it's kind of like Moneyball styles.
Yeah.
Like that movie, one of my favourite films.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
actually, that's a bucket list of mine is go to Oakland A's match because of that.
I love it. Well, I've been to San Fran. I watched Oakland A's in those like pubs.
Bro.
You know the sports bars in the States?
It's crazy.
You go there and it's like a vibe and like, you feel like you're in a movie. And there's that guy in the corner like, whoa, where are you from? Like, I don't know. I love that.
Yeah,
I love American sports. No one does it like them.
No, I agree.
I don't know. Anyone could say anything. Get fucked.
Yeah,
the
no, I
States
couldn't.
Rule that shit.
I couldn't agree more.
NFL, NBA,
college sports is like
NCAA is ruling, isn't
ridiculous.
it? March Madness. Dude, I've got guys that don't sleep during that. They
really?
Are just, big sport. Guys.
I always think of the guys playing that. I'm like, fuck, they must have a real lull when they come out of college and don't make it. I'm like, you're playing around 100,000 people.
I can imagine what it's been.
You're not even fully at your game yet. You're playing in front of more fans and potentially the NFL.
I know, not getting paid. It's like
not
weird.
getting paid. Yeah.
Apparently the coaches get like $5 million a year or something.
Well, that's why some of them don't go to the top.
Anyway, crazy, man.
AFL guy too, because we have a lot of AFL players on this podcast.
Yeah,
so
I know a few of them.
It's pretty cool when I'm thinking and we're going to get into your story.
That's where I started, dude, in media in AFL.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Channel 7, right?
Yeah. So, I went, kind of started like I did, where did I go? RMIT for film school, because I always wanted to do film directing, kind of stuff like that. But making that leap's pretty hard. So, once I finished university, I did 2 years there, and I knew it wasn't for me. To be honest, even during the uni phase, I was partying a bit. I was 21, 22, so I was kind of doing my thing.
Yeah.
My thing's better than your thing. But so when I did that, and then I needed something practical, and I had a few contacts at Channel 7 and I got launched into full-blown Channel 7 football department, and I started off editing, and then I was shooting little videos on players, and I just met a lot of players, and I did this little show called Discovered back then. And
what is that?
I was just like I felt like I was probably the first guy to take a DSLR out in like 2012 and follow players around and like get this kind of more art meets sport aspect of stuff. I think they're still online. But I met Dusty and, a few others, and some I'm still really good mates with, dude.
Ledge.
So this is, that was cool. And then after that, after I kind of did a lot of shooting, I was like, and I'd done 5-6 years of editing, I felt like I was well equipped to go, oh my God, I want to make a short movie.
Really?
Yeah, so I made a short film, and that got into Sydney Film Festival, and then, which was pretty cool. And then from that, I was like, I just got the bug, man. It was like a sickness. Like, when something attacks you, it's like, man, it's like filmmaking is my cancer. Like, I got it. Like, That's all I want to do, bro. So
that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it feels good, lucky enough to have that drive and passion and purpose. So I've got that direction, but it can get very frustrating of how long and shit takes as well. So you just have to keep
that's
going.
what I was curious about, because I was like, with what you do, I'm like, can you shoot for that, or do you like fall into it a little bit? Not in the sense of falling with luck, but like you start working on little things, then you get to a place where you're like,
do you want me to kind of give you a background how I kind of got to where I am?
Yeah, so it's fucking ridiculous when we talk about.
Once I left Channel 7, I was like, nah, I'm going to go for this. I started a little production company around the corner, went for a few years, pretty successful, but it got to the point where I was getting more drawn into the advertising aspect, directing commercials. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to get where I want to go, which is film.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is write a script. So I kind of packed up that opportunity, and I moved to Bali, bro, for like 5 months with the aim of writing a script. And I'll be quite frankly, man, I failed VCE.
Oh yeah, I didn't finish school either.
Dude, but it's not me. I'm not a studier kind of thing. But I was kind of back then. It was like, you didn't do it. You can't get here. You're fucked.
You get satanized for
pick up the bloody drill bit. You're doing fences, mate. Fuck off, cunt. But not that. But like, I was just like, it's now or never. And I purposely chose Bali. 1, because it's hot and there's surf. But 2, because if I told people where I'm going, I got a lot of pride. And if I go, man, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to come back with a script, then I've got no choice. Like, I'm not going to come back and not deliver.
So you put that on yourself.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, ride or die. And I was ride or die. I had a limited amount of funds, and I'm riding or dying, and literally on a scooter as well, riding dirt bike. I was fucking going. But I just took my lappy over there, working out at cafes, and I wrote a script, and it was just getting to the point where this belief and passion and everything ignited, where it almost felt invincible. Like, I was like, oh my God. And writing wasn't something new to me. It was kind of new to me, but it really took hold. And once I kind of dialed in this kind of rough draft, I got to the stage where I'm like, I fully believed in it, mate. I was screaming at the universe. Like, I was walking, training every day, fucking 6-pack rocking, the whole lot, man. I was just in that element, zen. If Tiger Woods has a zen moment, I was living in that for 3 months, bro.
That's awesome.
And it was like my pure fun. It wasn't even drinking, partying in Bali, whatever, just drilled in. And then I sent it to a lot of agencies in the States, just getting some contacts who to send it to, and not knowing how that kind of operation works. So from there, I was the waiting game. That's the part that sucks, because I had this script, and then I was like, oh my God, this is my blood, soul. But honestly, for me, it was like, this thing has to work. Otherwise, I'm cooked. Like, I have an identity problem because I believe in this thing so much. And if I've gone so hard, like, can't underestimate how much I believed in this process. It was a very cathartic moment for me, like a learning moment. And so once I sent that off, 2-3 weeks went by to the point where I was like literally running out of cash, to the point where I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to get home, man. This is when I was like 30. And so when that happened, I felt like I hit rock bottom. I'm quite erratic as it is, you probably can tell. I'm ADHD positive, I'm fucking rocking.
Oh, we're in the same boat, bro. We're in the same boat.
But then I literally was calling my sister. I'm like, I'm cooked here. I don't know what to do. I felt really, really shit. And at that moment, mate, I was like, I don't talk to my sister like that much. Like, I'm pretty private. And I was like crying. I'm like, I'm cooked. I don't know what to do. This is, I've felt
Is that because
lost.
you've gone all in, eggs in one basket?
All in everything.
Yeah.
And if this isn't going to pay off, fuck you. Because you know what I mean? Like, I've had enough hits in my life that I know how hard I've gone with this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then at that moment, man, I'm on the phone to her and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it went zzz, and it was WME, William Morris Endeavour out of LA. And it was like, hey, Rich, just read your script. Call me. And I was like, oh my God. Oh no. So I hanged up the phone and I was like, they're like, dude, you got to get on a plane. This script's fucking wild.
Oh my God.
So fast forward like 5 days later, I scrounged up the cash, get home, pack my bags, go to LA. And then, mate, like being in Bali, and then 4 days later, I'm in LA in the biggest agency in the world. And then I'm on this long table with 20 crew. Like, it was full entourage shit.
So this is like...
Yeah, man, it's like legit. These guys own UFC and stuff
doors
now. Yeah,
in life
man, they rep like
shit.
Mark Wahlberg and all that shit.
Fuck.
So it's like you go in and it's like exactly what you picture in the movie. And they're all this team here to make this movie. Like, who do you want your movie? And like throwing out all these names. I'm like, whoa.
Oh my God.
But if there's one thing I'm kind of good at is like bringing the energy to a room. And if I can nail a meeting, I'm pretty good at it, I feel. So just getting that passion across, I think that's probably helps to wear the belief.
Yeah.
If you can instill that into someone or make your energy contagious, then you're on.
Then
you know
everyone's in the room
You can have a
fucking buzzing.
half-baked idea and still make people say yes in a way, you know? So
What was that you wrote? What was the...
it was called Punk. So it was about a bunch of train-serving kids kind of riding along the fault lines of North America, robbing banks, and it was a big fuck the system film.
Wow.
So then post that, I like had all these crazy meetings. I touched Cara Delevingne, Machine Gun Kelly, all this crazy stuff. And then unfortunately, COVID came.
Oh, yes.
And kicked it as we were gearing up, and then it kind of kicked it in the nuts, and the world went to shit, and the whole film industry did. But what it did was open a lot of doors to Hollywood. So,
bro, you've you've done some pretty crazy things, and I actually wanted to the reason why we obviously connected was through some mutual friends. So Damo Coe and your mate Jimmy Magnus. So thanks for helping with that. But I watched The Enforcer last night.
Did you? Yeah, nice.
Bro, what a
bit of fun.
Bro, what a film.
Yeah.
What a film. Antonio Banderas one I've always liked.
Yeah.
But that type of film is that's my kind of film.
Yeah,
that's my kind of jam. Like an Equalizer kind of Denzel Washington vibe. Do you know what I mean?
The story off that is I was in COVID, and when COVID came, everyone was cooked, man. Like apart from construction, and that's where I met my mate Jimmy. Well, we kind of connected again, and he runs a civil construction joint, and he's like, dude, you want work? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, got all my tickets, got in the trucks, and I'm there for like 7 months going, oh my God, what's the world coming to? We're all in that position, man. Yeah. And I went away and we were at Wire River, and I met a lot of studios while I was over there in the States. Right. And I kept close with them. But also during COVID, that connection kind of like everyone was kind of lost contact a bit. And I was at Wire River, woke up, missed call, and I'm like, there was no reception from this guy, Yariv, in America, and he was like, call me back. So I'm like, I told him, Mrs. I'm like, oh, something feels funny about this. Went to Lawn Pier, out on the edge. I'm like, hey, Yariv, what's up? He's like, do you want to do a movie with Antonio Banderas in Greece, shooting in 30 days, get on a plane? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Wow.
So, but I've done a lot of work to get to that point to have my foot in the door.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because like that's a fucking big deal. That's your first proper like
feature,
Hollywood time.
First feature film. So that Antonio, Kate Bosworth, 2 Chainz, my mate Mojan Aria from Sydney.
Is he Aussie?
Yeah, he's from West Sydney, bro.
He's he's got the Western Sydney hands, bro. Yeah,
and then he's and Alexis Ran and a few others. So
Alexis Ran, man.
Yeah, they were all so cool though, man. It was such a good vibe. So we had to shoot in Greece. So I lived there with a year. I took my missus. We ended up getting engaged on Santorini. Well, look, the world was still in COVID, so we're really lucky.
So what did you shoot most of the film in Greece?
Because it's set in Miami, but that's how films work. They have production designers that change like road signs and all that kind of stuff, and they brought in American cars, and and then that suddenly it looks like America. So half the films you watch aren't even where. They shoot films in Australia and it looks it's set in New York. I don't know how they do it. I still don't know how they do it.
Elvis in like the Gold Coast or whatever.
Exactly. So that's kind of how that evaporated, and now I'm just writing, and I've got a couple of things going on, and we're ready to roar again soon. So,
mate, well, I'm going to tap into this film a little bit, but I want to go into because you did, as you mentioned, you worked your way up to get that opportunity, but like how hard do you have to work to get given that? Like, because that's a big movie. I mean, it's out on Amazon for those or Prime in Australia.
It's on Binge.
It's on a few. I watched it on Amazon. I bought it. Buy it.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. No, it's good. I worked tirelessly. Yeah. And even getting there, I did not stop for 4 months working like every day. But by then, you're running on fumes. But it's when it's as I said, when it's your passion and you're so focused on something like that, you eventually get to that point. It's hell or high water, dude. Yeah. It's like, let's fucking roll. It's time to go. So,
what in your eyes makes a great director? Because that's it's a pretty unique space. Like, do you know what I mean? You're running I
don't know. Well, there's different types. I've met a lot of great directors. Like, I had dinner with Martin Campbell when I was over there twice. He's 80 years old. He did Goldeneye, the original. And then he did Casino Royale. Wow. Like, he's a beast, bro. He's from New Zealand. He's 80 years old. And I was like, oh my God, Martin, blah, blah, blah. And he's like the security detail behind him, like these huge fucking dudes. He's like, come out for dinner. And I'm like, Manny, I'm talking to myself, like really young energy. And he was shooting another movie with Guy Pearce at this studio we're at. And he's running around.
Still alive.
But he's like, I could tell he's kind of like an Ange Postecoglou type.
Really?
Cutthroat. Yeah, some are pretty angry and all that, but he had an authority. Some are introverts, some are extroverts, some are very silent and like, to get him to do that kind of, where I'm like pretty up and about.
Everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, I'm up and about. I'm right in there. When I get excited, I'll let them know and I'll, try. But in the end, man, we're making a movie, so I like to bring the energy. Like, there's a lot of, like any industry, there's some people that hang their heads, and it's like, dude, this ain't that industry. We're making a movie, It's like, step it up. So, but for me, I like to bring the energy. I like to show people the passion, and I think you need to be, to be a good director, you need to be very resilient to get there in the first place. But you need to be very decisive because time is money in this industry. And when you're rolling on production days that are, 80 grand a day with 50 crew, all the gear, and it's costing $80,000 a day, if that can be more for some of the bigger movies.
Correct.
Your time is money. So I have a big value in making those decisions quickly. Because if you pitter-patter around and you're like, no, reshoot, and then it starts raining, and then it's like schedule's down the drain, and then you're losing money, and then it doesn't look good on you. So it's all about setting up for the next movie because you're only as good as your next.
Oh, you're only as good as your next.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That's the kind of
I haven't heard that one
thematic,
before.
Yeah.
I'm using when I beat people at something.
Tattooed on fucking throat. I'm as good as your next. Yeah, what up, Ange?
COYS. There we go. Hey legends, just a quick pause in this episode to let you know that for another year, we have partnered with Dabble, which means I'll be doing a weekly stream within the Dabble app on Wednesdays, 7 to 8 p.m. on the show called Jake's Take. We did it all last year through 2023 and we had lots of fun. Within that, we'll be doing some bets. We'll be talking about the various sports around the world and what's going on. We have a whole lot of fun on a Wednesday night, so make sure you get in there. If you guys are into this space, definitely get on Dabble because you can follow some of the professionals or ex-professionals in their sports and see what bets they're putting on and what they're thinking to increase your chances of winning. So there, we make sure we dabble socially, gamble responsibly. Let's get back into the episode. Did you feel ready for it? Like, in the sense of...
Oh, man, I think when I went over there and landed, I know what you mean.
Like, it's just, it's huge, man. It's the pinnacle of what you do, right?
Well, especially coming from COVID.
It's like me playing
jumping out of one of those big Volvo dump trucks. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I'm in fucking Greece. And I'm like meeting all the 2 Chainz and shit like that, bro.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah, and then I'm like, whoa. And then it's just like... I was concerned that I was like, oh my God, am I ready for? And then boom, you're in, it clicks in, and you're like, oh my God, you don't have to try because it's you.
Yeah.
It's part of your DNA. So again, I'm just lucky to have an inner drive that's pretty relentless and forceful.
So are you putting out like the schedule and the planning? Do you have people that's like, you're obviously going to shoot certain takes, certain times throughout the, how many days was the process for?
I think that was like a 29 day shoot in Greece. It was like 40-degree heat every day, sweating bullets.
Right.
But the schedule, you got to keep time. So you got a producer, you got admin teams, you got associate producers, you got runners, which are people running around. You got a whole throng, and then you've got all the trucks, the makeup trucks, and all that kind of biz and food and whatever you got to do, man.
Damn. So is it different when you're a director? Obviously, you haven't written it, I presume. So do you get like when you get the call to direct it?
Yeah.
Are you getting the assessment through the script and all that? Or
so
you
you kind of get sent the script, and this was a tight one because it was ready to go. Ready to go.
You said 30 days. Can you be in Greece?
I mean, it was probably like give or take 5 weeks or something like that.
Right.
It just sounds better, like shooting in 30, bro. No, it's probably like 5 or 6 weeks, which is a really short amount of time because you got to go location scouting, find all the original screenplay. It was supposed to be called Barracuda too, which was way better title. Enforcer's kind of pox, but it works like that in the industry.
Well, Enforcer's a Clint Eastwood film.
I know, they just change shit, man.
Is that a connection to that film?
All sales. No, it's just all sales. It changes name for. That's the thing in movies. You see a title, it'll be called something else in bloody New Zealand and Philippines and like. It's like 10 different titles.
That's
per
actually
movie.
true. It's a good point. I've realized that.
Yeah,
in some
so
things.
like Moneyball might be called Moneyball here, and then in China it'll be called like Cash Baseball. You know, it's just weird like that. Yeah, it's
crazy.
funny, man. Yeah,
interesting. I didn't know that.
So, and then what was the question?
Like when you were assessing the script, like do you get a because obviously it's your first one, you kind of want to take it, but like do you rigorously go through that process too?
100%. Because look, that one was written 10 years ago. It was written by the same guy who did Point Break. So it was kind of cool.
No shit.
Man. You like wrote me a really nice email like, hey dude, heard you got the movie. I watched your short film.
That's one of my
which I shot
great movie, Point Break.
Like,
isn't it?
And so that was cool. And then you just kind of go through and he wrote it like 10 years ago and it was solid, but it just needed to be updated a little bit because the world's changed so much every decade. So you originally said New Orleans, but we changed it for Miami because in Greece you could turn into Miami. It wasn't going to turn into New Orleans. So
true.
Things like that, dialogue. And then you're working with actors like Antonio and you might go like, look, I wouldn't say it like that. And I'm like, yeah, cool. How would you say it? And he's like, I'd say it like this. And you're like, oh, sweet. And, not really going to say no to the guy.
Yeah, well, that's it. Can you tell me what it's like working, like part of their brilliance or give us insight into
Antonio's a pro,
and Kate Bosworth as well. Like, they're huge actors, man.
Oh, man. When I met Kate, I was like, look, let's just get it out. Blue Crush. Film of the millennium. I think we're all had a crush on Kate back then.
Dude, she's hot in the film too, man.
So, it's cool, but it's so fast-paced at that stage. It's like, Rich, got a call with Kate. Got a call with Antonio, and then can you go meet them? Can you meet them? So you run around and then you eventually get them all in the same room and you do a little read through of the script.
Right.
So everyone's kind of familiar. And it's just that first stage you're gelling with each other, just trying to get the, if anyone's got any questions, how they want to attack certain roles, you kind of let it out.
Build that connection as well.
But you're kind of making it slow and like breathworky vibes, but really you're fucking shooting tomorrow. and you got to go. So yeah, it's a big time crunch, man. And I think all films are kind of like that because there's a lot of money. In the end, what I've found is like, although it's like I've always like passion, made movies, all this stuff, and it's for the art and all that, you realize pretty quickly it's just one big Moneyball. It's business, man. It's a business. That's it. So it's important that.
Did that kill the enjoyment at all for you when it gets to that point? Because
sometimes,
like athletes,
not
right?
during. I think in the post the film, I focused so hard on wanting to get to this spot that when I actually got there, I was kind of wondering why I was feeling a little bit empty.
Yeah,
and I think it was just part of the process of the film and understanding that. Look, I actually think it was just me coming down from the process, man.
Yeah,
you're living like a rock star.
Adrenaline dump.
You're living like a rock star, and I had a bit of trouble with it, man. I was like, this is tough. Like, and I spoke to the miss. I'm like, I'm feeling.
Oh, I get that.
I was a bit concerned of why I was feeling a certain way after I just come off this huge opportunity, and I should be like high on life, and it's like, why aren't I feeling that way? But that's something you got to learn that, it comes in waves and you got to concentrate on yourself a bit because it's not all, You know, Axl Rose isn't always fucking touring. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
It's adrenaline dump.
But
man.
you know, also, you know what that tells me is with you is that when you're doing that, that's when you're at your best.
Yeah.
'Cause that's which is great. When you're working, you're in the right space.
And I feel like the more as an artist or yourself, you understand when that point is, how you can approach it. Because I feel like some people, and I'm not immune to this, are go and hit that point and they choose the wrong decision from there, whether it's going out, doing things, getting messy, whatever. Yeah. And I feel like that's an important lesson I learned because you see that a lot, even in a lot of Hollywood people. Yeah, you know, they're like, where are they going? They're off the map. Look at him. Shit photo. And it's like, dude, that guy's probably going through an adrenaline dump or something.
I hate that.
You know what I mean? And it's like we boost up all these profiles on people and then we're like, get into them so hard. But, you know, anyway, that's why. And that's also why the Ange effect, man, because anyone from a country like this to get to a certain point, like I have mad rep, bro, because it's so freaking hard. We're on the other side of the planet. Yeah. But also there's a lot of Aussies in the film industry and I think it comes down to the cutting teeth of these people. There's a lot of fucking like, let's get the bitch done with Aussies. Yeah. Where I find like sometimes if you're born in Hollywood or you're from LA, it's kind of like this is just the industry. But to actually get to that point, I mean, you look at the Hemsworths, they're so blokey and blue collar, but that's the charm they've made it. But they're actually really freaking hardworking.
Well, yeah.
You know, they're bricklayers of the film industry in a way. Like they've got there the hard way. Yeah. They haven't coasted there on a ship in Cannes and like, yeah, sign me up.
They've been gifted. No,
exactly.
No such thing.
I mean, they've been gifted looks and six packs.
Fuck, they're great.
You know what? They're lucky.
Yeah, it bothers me how good looking he is. Like, seriously. Yeah, exactly. He just happens to be a film actor as well.
Exactly. Fuck, this is looking pretty tight,
bro. You're looking buff, bro.
I look like, who's that? Bro, I look more dude, you know who I look like? That Wilkinson guy that kicked the winning goals in the rugby tournament.
Johnny Wilkinson.
Yeah, Johnny Wilco. Hey, Wilco, what up?
I don't know how your mind's so tight, bro. I haven't worn this in a long time. And I got to ask 2 Chainz. One of my favorite scenes is when
it's a vibe.
Cuda comes in to Freddie and they're looking for Billy and he's just there smoking and like playing hardball. Is he properly blazing up there?
Properly blazing up,
I could tell, man.
Properly
blazing up. Baseball bet in his fucking baseball bat.
Inside it was 40 degrees outside and we built that from an underground car park and just put all the walls up.
Wow, that looked epic in there.
Yeah, the build was like 2 weeks, like full chippies. So it's a whole wide aspect of industries coming together, which is what I love. And then, it was so hot, man, like to the point where you could not pump aircon and those concrete walls, like grease heat, pumping in. It was so hot.
The lighting was epic too, man.
What up, Richard? And but like even going like, we had all the trucks of the actors outside waiting to go and like the producers like, Rich, Chainz wants to see you. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I went to his truck and there's like this mountain of a man like Jono Lomu, double size. No, I'm talking security.
Security, right.
Yeah, bro. Like he had the squad come, man. Like full blown. He had the massage artists, the joint rollers, the everything, bro. He's got the works, man. And this security guy's like, knocks on the door, he's like, Chainz, Rich here. I went in and he's like, Rich, come in. Like, not even turning around in the dreads and then, Rich, come in. I'm like, walk in. I'm like,
it's mad.
So what are we doing today? And I'm like, sit down and like, I'm just like, man, I'm in a Winnebago with 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
And he's like, offers me a joint. And I'm like, man, I'm about to roll here. Like, there's no way I shouldn't. But who am I not to? So I'm like, and I'm like a 2 puff kind of. I like chill because if I go anymore, man, I'm like, nah, man, I'm not.
Yeah, but you have to
I
earn
just
his
think
respect.
of every worst part of my life if I get too rich. You know what I mean?
You had to earn his respect there, though.
Yeah,
he would have liked that.
Who am I? That was the hazing. Yeah. Literally, it was a haze. So, and that was, mate, but he was so cool to work with. It didn't feel like I was working with like some rap. He came to the side and he's like, Rich, I just want to thank you. You've been so kind and you've been making me feel welcome. This isn't normal for me. And you know,
was it his first film? Or has he been in films before?
I think he'd done like some other small like
bits and pieces.
Yeah, TV stuff, but this was his kind of first opportunity. God, he's 7 foot tall, man.
Yeah, well, I was about to, when he was talking about the security guard, I thought you were him.
On his chains. He's like, what do you want me to wear, man? And it's like, he brought all his like box, you know, the rapper box, like the ice box thing. And he opened, I'm like, man, can I try? I was like, yeah, go. And it's like, man, like, these are $100,000 watches. And I was just like, the chains, it was so sick. But he was so lovely, man. He was so sick.
Wait, not many people can say they've blazed up with 2 Chainz, bro.
Yeah, it's funny,
That's
man.
cool.
You look back sometimes and go, wow, this is wild. Even just talking about it with you, it's like, you kind of push those memories back because I'm always thinking, what's next?
Yeah.
But when you have a moment to settle and think about
that's
it.
why doing these are good sometimes because I take you back through everything. Which sometimes some people are like, fuck, I haven't thought about that. I get upset. Like
totally.
Bring up bad moments as well for people, unfortunately.
Totally.
Can I just ask the biggest like learning you got out of that? Because obviously your first big feature film, you're working with incredible actors.
Look, you're always learning. I think it was such a big leap. I think like you're going from short films and then writing scripts and then jumping on a massive Hollywood film set. But I think. What did I learn?
I can't believe you shot it I can't believe you shot it in such a short time.
What I learned.
Yeah.
Man, I had so much fun, dude. I'm just ready to roar into the next one.
That's a good answer. Oh, yeah, I had fun. That's good.
I appreciate everything. I mean, me and my fiance lived out of the Hyatt in Greece for 12 months, bro. This one room.
So did you shoot over 12 months? Is that how long?
No, because they did post-production there. So you're editing. And we set the edit up in like another ensuite in the Hyatt. Man, this one was like living in a country club, golf club thing. Like it was unreal. And they kept like, are you getting sick of that joint? Do you want Airbnb? I'm like, no. this is the shit. Yeah. And I got into, I'm like, oh, can I get the Hyatt points? I put it all on my own Hyatt card.
Oh my God.
Get that shit going.
Oh my God,
get the
bro.
Perks. So I just feel really lucky and blessed to do that. I had a close friend of mine that I brought over that's also in the film, Luke. He's the guy that's, he plays Paycheck. He's like, you hear me? That guy.
Oh, what?
In the room with Antonio and 2 Chainz. He's like, with the flick knife.
He's the one, yeah.
Yeah, that's my mate from Sydney. He's Aussie, dude.
Bro, he's ledge, man.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
So he had a good scene with Kudo when they fucking went at each other.
Yeah, so we work really closely together. So that was cool to just bring each other over and reward each other and get the shit done. It's good to have people close like that.
Yeah,
it's nice to have some Aussies.
I had no idea he was from Sydney.
It's nice to have some Aussies on set as well, and people you kind of trust because it's like I can see how it could get a bit whirlwind pretty quickly.
Right,
you have to have a really good relationship with your DOP, director of photography, which is the guy doing the camera. Mm-hmm. You're always close to them, tight with your producers. And for me, it was I had a really good senior producer, Rob Van Norden. He's done like all the Expendables and all these huge action films. Where he was looking after me and he was I could trust him with my life. Like, we're such good mates. We're going to be working together forever. But whatever question I had wasn't too dumb or too smart or whatever.
Bang, that's perfect.
It was always like, no, you should probably do that. Yep, no, I'd probably stay away from that. And I'd ask him anything I need, which helped. Yeah. Gives a guidance there, man, because it gets pretty crazy.
Bro, wow, man, great film, bro.
Thanks, man.
I really enjoyed it.
Wait till the next one.
I cannot believe there was those 2 guys were Aussie.
Yeah, Majan Aria and Luke Boucher.
I mean, they're pretty pivotal actors in the thing as well.
I try to help out the homegrowns, man.
I love that, bro. Keep giving back.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm big on like the creative space, which I'm trying to bring more into the podcast.
I got some hookups for you,
love music, can't write. Love reading books, admire authors.
Yeah.
When you write for films, like where the fuck do you start? Like how do you put that into like really?
It's a headspace. So when the strikes came in, I don't know if you know about the Hollywood strikes that came in mid-year. So there was no movies being made from May to December last year.
Oh, wow.
Because the writers' strike and the actors' strike, you don't remember it? You've been living under a rock.
He's shaking his
The whole industry stopped.
I try to be oblivious to
the whole industry stopped, so nothing was getting made. So there's going to be a big gap of no movies.
I was going to say, the ripple effect's coming.
Yeah, totally. And so it was all about rights, pay rights, AI and all that. So it gave me a chance to write another script. And I went, oh, God. Writing another script's like stepping into a space that's unattainable sometimes. You can't just go, I'm going to write today and go to a cafe and that. It's really, for me, it might be for others, but for me, it's about getting there, first conceptualizing your idea to the point where you're like, getting a bit excited about it.
Right.
And then stepping into that zone where you're just so immersed and that's all you think about. But I really need to shut off for it. So, I had an office in bloody Beau Morris, from a mate's office. He was like, I'm away. I'm like, John Wall, shout out. Gave me his office and I sat in there and I pumped out a fat script in like 6 weeks. It's full cartel, like survive. It's like Revenant meets No Country for Old Men in Mexico. But that's getting some heat now, man. Full survival story.
Really?
Yeah, thriller. Bloodbath. So I reckon that's going to happen this year, man. It's called Wrong Man.
Wrong Man.
It's dirty, bro. It's disgusting.
How do you go in like how do you go in civilization when you get in that space? Because like, you know what I mean?
I think my missus puts up with a lot, bro.
Because like, you know, when you get immersed into something, it's hard to appreciate everything or be present in things.
Feels like, unfortunately, being an artist, well, I'm okay, but I think it can be quite selfish for others sometimes.
I have to be, man.
Because I'm like, I'll go home like, babe, did this, rah, rah. And, you know, sometimes like, are you going to ask me how my day is? And it sucks. But it's true. So that's what I'm really focusing on as well. Yeah. And, you know, that's me being open. But it's a two-way street. You know what I mean? Because it is it's so internal, bro. And when you like drilling this thing and you're like, it's like you're on a rocket ship, you know? It's one-seater too. Unfortunately. But you have to come down. Like, you have to come down from these things. Yeah, correct. So it's about learning. And I think,
Well, how long did this project like marinate before you put pen to paper type thing?
Oh, quick, bro. Like I got the idea within a week, and then it was one of the. I rang my mate and he's like, that's the one, man. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So it's about a stunt man that's doubling for an action hero, and they're shooting a film in Mexico City, and they look alike. And when they kidnap him, they think they're kidnapping the star, and when they find out that he ain't that guy, he's the wrong man. They bury him alive.
Oh
like
my
full
God.
gore, bro. This ain't no comedy either.
Oh, wow.
You think it's like it's the R18, bro.
So you like the action. Like
I want action. That's your
thriller.
So it's just about him and getting some revenge on the Sinaloa. It's badass.
Oh,
it's like Sicario, Revenant, No Country for Old Men, like dirty film. I don't know if you've seen any of them.
No,
disgusting. That's terrible, bro. You're horrible. Stick to sports.
No, I've watched The Revenant actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, yeah.
You've actually got rewarded for once on it.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
What else did I want? Oh, bro, this is what we spoke about on the phone for the listeners at home is your stories with celebrities. And not celebrities, they're probably your friends, but you've just fallen into some positions and people that you've built some great relationships with that I reckon you're very under the radar.
I've got a couple.
You got some good stories. You had Thanksgiving with Zac Efron accidentally by the sound of it.
So that's a funny one. Dude, that was when I wrote that script and I got sent over. This is 2017, 18 or something. Right. And I had the producers put me in touch with like a casting agent. She was lovely, Chelsea, and she was like a producer looking after me. Said, here, you can stay here, blah, blah, blah. So I was staying over at hers, and then she was like, when we're leaving, she's like, I've got this Thanksgiving thing on. Dude, you want to come? And she'd been really helping me. So I'm like, sure. I've never, Thanksgiving's a real big thing over there. I'm like, cool, but I got to get to the airport. She's like, you can just pop in at Zac. It's at Zac's house. And her brother was named Zac. So I'm like, cool, because I met her family. I'm like, And I'm like, cool, like thinking, oh, God, like, what's Thanksgiving?
What's going on? Yeah.
You know, like gearing up to go home. And then we drove and it was in Manhattan Beach. And then we get to this house. Man, joins fucking mansion. I'm like, God, your bro's pretty hooked up.
Who?
She goes, bro, no, Zac Efron. We go in the house, mate. Zac Efron's in there. And he's like, hey, happy Thanksgiving. And there's like a select 6 dudes there and like his girl at the time or something. And like a round table, the turkey, all that kind of thing.
And you just
he has like a vodka brand, his 6 mates, they just all travel the world. They're just brodies.
Oh, that's
and then,
mad.
so they just do this kind of group. And a lot of those celebrities are very insular. So, but he invited me in. I actually, you're choosing the seat. And I'm like, I'll just sit here. And they're like, Rich. He's like, yeah, Rich here. Sat next to Zac.
What?
Yeah, and then they're like, get this. And then they're like, got to like the cutting of the turkey thing. And he's like, all right, holding hands. I'm like, and you're holding a hand. I'm like, holding hands with Zac Efron.
No, you're not.
Man.
No, you're not.
And then the guy's going in like a scout's little dip dog around of like home truths, like what you want to do and all this stuff. And it's like going, and it came to me. I'm like, I'm just really thankful for being here. I kind of like fluffed it up.
Yeah.
Like, I just order your families and all this shit.
You don't even, Thanksgiving's not a thing here too,
us,
right?
Man. It's not us.
I mean, what's it for?
I feel like in America, even if you live on the other side of the country, people fly home for that week. weekend.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of thing.
huge.
Yeah, we don't.
They're big on the whole Halloween and stuff.
Yeah,
like
we
a
don't
lot
have that. We're a bit lazy with that
Yeah.
shit.
So wait, just to recap, you didn't even know you're going to Zac Efron's house. Then you pulled up a chair next to him. Then you're saying grace.
Yeah.
Holding hands.
Yeah, I was there for a couple of hours. Then I went on the plane. I'm like, oh, that was a weird way to finish it.
Fuck me.
But then I think one of the best ones I had was when I was casting that film Punk, because it was starting to get some names attached. And they said, this agent called me from Durham, like, hey, Rich, there's this guy called Angus we really want you to meet. He's got no headshots. He's just started this show called Euphoria with HBO. He's really raw, but I think he'd be great for your movie. So I'm like, and I'd met a lot of people just going, man, I've been running around. To be honest, I was exhausted, man. I'm like, who's this guy at that stage? You know what I mean? Not being a dickhead, but I'm like, and I'm like, oh no, you know what? I'm stupid not to go. Like, this is one last meeting the day before Zach's kind of thing. And then what did we do? I'm like, I've always been meeting at a cafe or something. And then I'm like, let's go to a pub on Venice. I want to see the water or something. I was waiting and he was late. I'm like, go on. And then Fez came around the corner and he's on his skateboard and he's like draped in all those big clothes and shit. And we sat outside on the beach drinking beers and I had a vape pen that I just got that day. And he's like, do you mind if we go? And we're like, man, we were there 4 hours drinking beers and getting high as shit.
That's cool.
And we really connected. And something that I really hold close to my heart was my time with him. Like, we became friends.
Yeah.
We chatted a lot. And it's just, it was fucking sad when he passed.
I
shed a tear for that, mate.
Year, or 2 years ago, last year.
He had something that a lot of actors that you meet try so hard to get, and he had it, and he was accidentally in that spot and given that opportunity because he was street cast, man. Yeah. He was street cast off the street.
Wow, really? So he's raw talent.
Yeah, he was approached on the corner block, bro, Oakland.
Oh my God,
bro.
wow.
It was him and his mate. He talked, because I asked him, and he was shooting. We were having beers, and he goes, I'm shooting this show, Euphoria. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, man, it's so slow. Like, he wasn't an actor, man. He didn't know. This shit's slow. Like,
he didn't get
but he
it.
had this, like, street vibe that was like, at the start, I'm like, oh, this guy is so different. Wow. Then once you got in the flow, you're like, this guy's so cool, man. Like, so cool. He got launched into this thing. And unfortunately, he didn't ask for it. And some people aren't as prepared as others to be bloody put on billboards, mate. I don't think it vibed too well from just the chats. Like, it was hard, you know.
It was tough for him, yeah.
It's tough. He couldn't go anywhere, man. Could not go anywhere. So I spoke to him just before, man. So unfortunately, bless up. That's what he used to always say, bless up. So bless up, Angus.
Yeah,
it's a real shame, brother. But what we got from him was a beautiful soul.
We saw some of his brilliance, though, for sure, man.
But we were working together, man. We were talking a lot. I was like, man, we got to work together. It's like, yeah, bro, let's do it. So that sucks. But look, man, we got to witness someone that was really pure. Yeah. So, Angus was genius.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. That's beautiful. Hey, why you're also a genius in my eyes is the viral experiment.
Oh, really?
I did some research on that because you sent me that clip.
We've done a few of them.
When you sent me that clip, I was like, what the fuck? Like the lightning strike. Oh, yeah. And then that sort of obviously connected into more videos, and then I started to learn a little bit more about the witty nature, which I know Braden's going to love the background of this because some creative genius. But when did that pop to your mind as like a little thing?
When I had an original production company with a mate Dave, we were just kind of doing these viral things. So we had a mate Casper, who did the shark jumping one off Sydney, jumps in, and there's a great white shark. Dude, I was with him when he did it. When he uploaded it, and it went to #1 on YouTube that night, and we're watching it, trending around the world.
Like, they're all fake, right?
And he got 10 million hits in like 24 hours, and I was like, oh my God, maybe we should do more of these. So we started doing more, and we did that tornado one, with me in the outback.
Which I thought, like, surely he should be dead.
Doing stupid shit, dude. Yeah. And then that one turned into a meme. Like, that got bigger now. Like, that still pops up, just the frame
of me
in front of it. Like, Elon Musk posted it last year, so it's still going.
You've been on Elon Musk's Twitter
page. Yeah. Weird. I know. I tried to turn it into NFT and didn't even sell. I was like, but I don't know how to set that shit up.
Yeah.
But, man, that was weird. So, I've done heaps. The one guy that's like full getting into it is that 28-year-old male guy, man. He's messaging me flat sticks.
Oh, really?
He's a legend. I want to see that guy unmasked. Are you him?
Nah. I don't know. Do you know who that is, Brayden? 28-year-old male page?
You're going to get him on here, blur his face.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah. Like something encrypted.
Just to see his face, though.
Yeah. But you won an award. Didn't you win some award for it?
Yeah, we won a few, man. But we won like, what was it called? The Golden Pencil, which is like the top of the top for advertising. It's like a golden pencil trophy. And yeah, man, we got sent around the world to the Webbies and all this stuff. Half of them were paid by advertisers, man. So V Energy and stuff like that, with subliminal stuff in them that was kind of for advertising. And then they just put them on YouTube. Yeah, it was just that we were at the brink of that start of that YouTube phase. Like for that viral.
Like Vimeo and stuff, like those viral videos.
Yeah, but just for that viral kind of thing. And now you see it, every man and their dog's doing it. But like, I actually thought of an idea the other day to do one, but I thought, it's hard to do, man. You need CGI. It's a lot of time to do it. But
what was fascinating is you ended up on like all these news broadcast channels around the world that genuinely fucking believe that. Like
Joe Rogan,
a lion's attacking a trophy hunter and
Joe Rogan was talking about. That was when I'm like, fuck, that's it.
Yeah, that's
hang up the boats, man.
Yeah, bro, that was special, bro.
Yeah, it was cool, man. So yeah, dude, I've done a lot of traveling too. It's just been great. Can't wait to see what's next, man. Do you want to be in one of the movies, mate?
Bro, I fucking would.
You kind of look a bit Hispanic. I could get you shot in the head.
Bro, if you with your tutelage, I could do it, bro.
Yeah, honey.
I want to go into like some of your favorite directors, favorite films, like Australian films.
List, bro.
Yeah, I can only imagine, right? Because I want to know, where do you draw your inspiration from? Like, is it from your industry?
Yeah, I think, and life.
Just whatever you breathe
the news, life, the world. Look, man, this is my.
Can we get that on camera? I don't know if you got it, Brayden.
I literally just, because when someone goes, "What's your favorite movie?" I just always write favorite movies.
Well, now I know who to go to watch. Like when I want to watch a film and get your advice.
So, man, number one for me is Training Day. You can't go past
baby.
Old school. Mum man.
Yeah,
dude, I've got heaps of films, but in terms of Australian films.
Yeah, well, do you have it? Well, I mean, any film, but I like to know your Aussie films.
I like Animal Kingdom. I love it, man. Love that film. That's good.
Was I late to the party there when obviously the American one I learnt it was connected to the Aussie family?
But that's like a soap opera version.
Yeah.
Have you watched the Melbourne version?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, it's dark as shit.
I have.
Well, it's about the real family, the crime family. But they're
literally driving on like beach. What do you call it? The beach road or whatever.
Yeah. That's where they're doing it. Yeah. Chopper is obviously up there. I like that film Lion. That was about that Indian kid that found his family on Google.
Bro, yeah.
That was, dude, I was crying, man. I'm like, fuck. But that was unreal.
What about directors? We're the ones who doesn't miss in your eyes? Like
Denis Villeneuve. So he's done Sicario, Dune, Prisoners. David Ayer. He did like Fury. He wrote Training Day.
Fuck me.
Quentin Tarantino, obviously.
Tarantino.
Inglourious Basterds. I watched that the other day.
Yeah.
Fuck, so good.
I watched
them all, but I just rewatched them.
I love that.
You know one film I watched the other day? Because I just wrote a survival thriller.
Yeah.
I'm like going through my survival films. So I realised how many survival films there are. But Castaway, bro. I watched that again the other day. You know, just kind of comfy or something.
Comfort movies.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
He's Tom Hunk in that movie.
Tom Hunk. Yeah, it's so long ago.
He's a ledge, bro.
Yeah.
But I love that film. Look, man, I just love cinema, but it's weird. Like when you're really focused on something, you watch less of it. Weirdly, man.
Bro.
Just trying to find time. So I'm trying to get back into it. I watched a movie last night called The Drop with Tom Hardy and Gandolfini just before he died. You like Sopranos?
Bro, probably my favorite of all time.
Best of all time, man.
Yeah, I got Entourage and The Office are up there, but like, dude, Sopranos is like repeat.
Oh, I could watch out there. I've got my Sopranos t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's 2001 vintage. Got it off Etsy, delivered like this thing. I had to haggle. It was pricey. It's like vintage t-shirt 101, Sopranos. I'm like, man, that thing's going to my child.
Yeah, it's the best.
I love that show, man.
Yeah, it makes me eat pasta every time I watch it. I have to eat like Italian food.
I feel bad. Like Gandolfini was so boss.
Oh man,
you felt like you were part of the family.
Yeah,
he made you feel like you were part of the family. But yeah man.
Special.
I mean, dude, I can post that on your gram if you want. Ricky's favourite film.
Yeah, bro. Because people
must watch it.
Must watches. If you're watching it, we should be.
You've got like childhood ones like Wizard of Oz and shit on there. Like
Wizard
shit
of Oz
that
is great.
I would have watched that heaps, but I can, Man on Fire. Oh,
I love it.
Everyone's got Shawshank. Moneyball's in there.
Moneyball's a great film. True story too, Moneyball.
Yeah, Truman Show's in there, bro. I love that, man. Like Truman Show's great. Aussie director.
I'll have to get your
Peter
list.
Weir.
Well, bro, I actually do have one more question because it's the podcast ritual, and it's probably, let's put it to where you've got to in your film career thus far. But resilience, drive, or ambition, all three critical to success. Which one's been your cornerstone? You wouldn't have got to be able to direct The Enforcer without having all the way through.
I think it's resilience because we're in this industry, and this is how I see it, the landscape. And I think you have to look at it from a large perspective. There's a whole boatload of people that want to be in the film industry, but in reality, a lot of them are going to tap out when it gets hard. And there's been a lot of obstacles just in the last 10 years, man, or 5 years even, where people have to tap out, and that's fine. But the ones who don't, and you're never going to tap, you're going to make it. It's simple as that.
It's perseverance, bro.
It's not an arrogance, it's a confidence that you know how hard you're going to go, that you'll never tap out. No matter how hard you're willing to go, dig holes for it on the side, you're going to get there, bro.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what you're going to do it and tell me what you did.
Clip it. We're clipping that. We're clipping that, bro.
Hey, quote that. That's my quote. It's going in a movie too. Dead set. My quote. No one's written that one before.
You're only as good as your next episode.
That's
so
it.
there you go.
It's good to have a chat, bro.
Hey, Richard Hughes. Check out the film. Check out the film, The Enforcer. It's probably everywhere, but definitely on Prime, Apple, Binge. Homegrown talent. It's beautiful what you're doing, Rich. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, get the merch, yo. It's 15% off if you put my name. Yeah, cheers, bro.
Love you guys. I'll see you guys next week.